Okay, so what we decided to do is we'll do a test again in here. We like to come in and get some what I like to call environmental style shots. So you get nice and low, get a nice wide one of the church, some of the detailing in the roof, all that type of stuff. Now, obviously with the XT2, if you want to get a fairly detailed shot, you're going to want to stop it down a bit. So we're probably going to talk what, f2, maybe f2.8, or maybe we want to push it to 4, depending on what we're shooting. So with the XT2, we're going to still need that higher ISO to get a decent shutter speed, unless we're tripoding. But again, with weddings, as we all know, it's very fast in, get some shots, get out before somebody else comes in. So we'll do some tests with this, see what the results come out, what kind of ISO settings we're like, and then we'll swap the lenses around because we've got a 16 on the H1 that's being recorded with Nathan. And yeah, let's see what the difference is. So. Right,
just a quick thing from me behind the camera. While I'm recording Ben now, it is on the XH1 with face detect. However, because he's backlit, it has struggled a couple of times to pick up his face. Just a point that I've noticed.
So on the 16mm, I'm using 2.8. I'm pointing at the ceiling, which is very dark, but it's lovely ceiling. Now, I'm at 6400 ISO and it's given me 90th of a second. I've got no exposure compensation, so I'm going to take a shot there. Let's see what happens. Now, my sort of rule, that's going to be plenty for this 16mm, so let's just knock it down a little bit. That's 42 of a second. Again, handheld. Let's go on a nice clean shot. Let's go for a good ISO 100. 13th of a second. Oh. Let's see what we can go down to. Nice ISO 500, 6.5 of a second.
Yeah, I reckon you should be able to get a good 1 second with that.
That's not going to go, is it? Let's go down to ISO 200. No one's ever going to take a picture of this. 2.8. Right.
How low would that go?
2.8 of a second. So what we'll do then is I'll swap round onto the H1 body and I'll do the same type of shot. Let's do some of the environmentally down the aisle type of shots as well. So down here, I've already focused before Nathan's gone down there, so I've got to focus on the back. ISO 200 is 9th, 9 SS I've got here, so take that again, that's going to be blurry. If we get a nice low shot, again, this Nathan's going to be in this one, so we can start waving. I've got what?
I need to be still.
Even at ISO 800, I'm getting 20th of a second. 2000, 52 of a second. I'm not taking these photographs, there's no point. Right, 4000, 105. Let's just back that off a bit. Let's try 32, 80th. That's probably where I'd be happy with a 16mm on the XT2. So I'll flip this over. XH1, 16mm on from the XT2. Let's do the same thing again. 2.8. I've not moved it. I'm going to do some more shots of up into the lovely ceiling we have here, and then some down the aisle, and we'll make it fair. We'll get Nathan back in front as well, so we've got a similar lighting situation. Yeah. But you know, lighting's constantly changing. We're in a church, so
just for information as well, behind the camera, face detect works a lot better when you're not backlit. So that's one thing I've noticed.
Right, so again, ISO 200, 2.5 SS on the shutter speed. Let's give it a go and see what happens. Let's make sure I've actually got this turned on before I go whacking through here. So this is shooting only. So we're going to look at doing this continuous. So let's get that on first. So I can see the difference already. So 2.5, one shot. Up the ISO to 324.5. 500, 6, 640, 800 is 10, 1000, 13th, 1250 ISO, still 15th, 1600, 20th of a second.
Do you know what I've just noticed, Ben?
2000, yeah.
You turned IBIS off.
Yeah, I did, because it's on a tripod.
So this little clip, no IBIS has been used.
So So if I get up to like 6400 80th of a second, all right, let's go back down here. Again, so 6400 is giving me like 220. We don't need to test that, do we? 80th of a second, 2060th, 1250, 42. Let's rattle through this.
Yeah, because if not, we'll get some nasty comments again saying that we took too long.
Cool. So there's another one. One thing I do notice, when I want to push the screen back in, I'm pushing the screen, so I end up using the touch points, which is always a bit funny. But there we go. Right, we'll have a think while we're still here. We've got no one here. So we'll see if we can think of anything else that's a bit more, you know, real time, real life kind of testing of the XH1 versus the XT2.
Okay, so you've seen Ben take a couple of sort of environmental shots within the church using the 16mm lens. This obviously ties in with our last video, which is the benefit of the IBIS within the XH1. But anyway, we'll look at couple of the images from each camera. I'm not going to go too in depth at this because we obviously know what sort of results we're going to get. But this obviously shows you the image quality as well between the two cameras. So let's have a look. So with this one now, we're starting with the XT2, and these have been put into classic chrome. The first thing you'll notice is a little bit dark. The reason for that is that Ben had the XT2 set on dynamic range auto. So what the camera has done is it's underexposed the image to preserve some detail so it can be brought back. So first off, we'll just bring that back a little bit. Let's close this window. So what we'll do is first off, we can add some exposure. Just bring it up a bit. And this will then bring it sort of in line with the other image that was taken with the XH1. But anyway, in this image, because the XT2 didn't have any stabilization, Ben has had to shoot at 3200 ISO at f2.8. Yes, the 16mm is an f1.4 lens, and we could have stopped down a bit, but we wanted to just sort of get a little bit of depth of field. So it was shot at f2.8, and he managed a 45th of a second shot. Obviously, if we were to use a shot of this, there'd be a lot of editing, but just for these purposes, we'll go in. I think this is 2:1, so this is quite a sort of crop in, and this just shows you the sort of noise that you're going to get in the shadows and in the darks with the XT2 at 3200 ISO. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Look at the lights here. So yeah, totally usable image. So that's what you can get with that. So yeah, so if you're looking at doing some environmental shots for the XT2, unless you shoot at wide open at f1.4, you are going to have to bump the ISO up a bit. He then took another image of me at the end of the aisle. Again, it's dark because the XT2 has compensated for that and underexposed it a bit. So we'll just bring up the exposure again a little bit. It's normally around a stop, so there's a stop. This is again in classic chrome. That's the only edit you'll see here. That's the only edit that's been done. And this was shot at an 80th of a second, again at f2.8, 3200 ISO. We could have maybe got that a little bit less on the shutter speed, but this is sort of an ideal sort of range. Now unfortunately you will see there's a little bit of grain in my face here, which unfortunately is due to the 3200 ISO, but it's not bad, you know. If we were to look at maybe putting this into say Acros with a green filter, you know, lovely black and white image there, totally usable. So that's just a couple of examples with the XT2. Let's now flick over to the XH1. Okay, so we're here with the XH1 files. These have been taken in, or they've been given in a Turner profile, which is the new XH1 profile. I think that gives it a lovely sort of look to the image. The first thing you'll notice is the exposure is spot on. My XH1s I have set to dynamic range 100. I don't like the camera to adjust the exposure too much. I want to be in control of that. And the benefit of the IBIS with the XH1 is this shot has been taken at a fifth of a second. So rather than 3200 ISO, we've managed to get down to 320 ISO. So let's go in again 2:1, and you will see how clean this image is. There's no noise whatsoever. The only thing with the Turner is it's sometimes it lacks contrast. So if I was to just add a little bit of contrast back into the image, there we go. Let's look down here. In the shadows there, no noise. So that's the benefit that you're going to get with the XH1 for the environmental shots, obviously using the in-body image stabilization. Let's now look at the one of me. This was pushed a little bit too far, but I'm just using this one as an example. This is a 1/7 of a second, and I'm obviously mid-laugh or whatever I'm doing, so I'm not really in focus because I moved. But if we look at the pew here, this is in focus, with no issue there. And again, if we just give it a little bit of contrast, maybe up the exposure a little bit, bring the highlights down, we can get some nice images here with a 1/7 of a second. I think that's been pushed a little bit too much. We could have gone up another stop. But anyway, that is like a 200 ISO shot, handheld. So from looking at these images, obviously the benefits are that when you do need to just nip into the church and get that quick environmental shot with the XH1, there's no need to get a tripod out. You can just get that shot handheld. You can get a long exposure and you can bring the ISO down. So yeah, that's the benefit of the XH1 over the XT2 for sort of low light, long exposure shots. We've got one more video in the series, which we're going to deal with just the shutter volume. It's going to be a very quick video, but that's our next video, so keep an eye out for that. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to comment, like and subscribe. My name's Nathan and I'm from the photography team.